to another Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series as well as the Umbani Chronicles, and I'm joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He is the creator of Eve of Reclamation and Eve of Insurrection and his new kids book, Growing in the Garden. He's also the graphic illustrator and main artist for Ancient Illumination graphic novel series as well as the Umbani Chronicles comics. And today we are wrapping up Halo Season 2. So spoiler alerts, if any of you have not watched the series on Paramount Plus, based on the video game, supposedly based on the video game, Halo, renowned from Xbox and Microsoft from the 2000s on. So we'll go from there. I'll read off some of my notes about the last 4 episodes, and then we will discuss and give our feelings and opinions about this show, because there's been lots of opinions floating around about it. Episode 5, Illyria, was interesting. We start out with the fog of war, basically. We see Master Chief being dragged back as he was injured, and Riz and Soren, are pinned down. Soren asked for it. He was like, it was kind of a little too easy in that battle, because we're coming out the end of the Reach battle, where Admiral Keyes sacrificed himself to allow the civilian transport to leave Reach as the Covenant were overrunning it. And right when Soren asked for it, we see a Covenant brute make an appearance. With hammer and everything, he ends up getting ate up because Quan and Lyra to the rescue in Soren's ship from the pirate asteroid belt that he was living. They blow the brute up and save them. I have a question mark here. Why take Halsey at all? Like, nobody trusts her. Why are we taking this character?
They're just that is frustrating. Well, continue.
Yeah. And at first, I thought this was going to be a suicide run for Riz, as she gets up at the last second to run back to get Vanek's body unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily.
I was like, I don't know why she's going to get Riz, but Riz ends up going to get Vanek's body. I kind of understand, but at the same time, like, he's dead and gone. What are we doing here? She gets obviously injured very badly on the way into the ship, and then it switches to McKee, who's just watching the world burn. And it's kind of funny, the elite there, the Arbiter calls her on her crap. He knows that she's being deceitful. And then she calls his bluff. Like, I was kind of surprised at that moment, because he basically, why shouldn't I kill you now? And she's like, do it. Rush Hour, the first one. Push the goddamn button. Like, it's like, why is she doing that right now? Then once again, after that, John, we see Master Chief is having an existential crisis of, who and what is he and what does it all mean type thing. At this point, they've been doing that a lot with him. And I can see that Quan still has not learned very much. She can only conceive of her own understanding of things. And Larian does it too, but I understand why, because I think that's her name. Soren's wife is kind of the same way. But from what I understood of the show, she's lost her entire planet, kind of thing. Like, her people are completely wiped out. So I can see how that would kind of skew her perspective. Riz lives. Kessler's a no-show when they show up on this planet to try and find. They think that Kessler's been dropped at this transport there. Halsey tries to basically take over Vanek's final rites, his funeral, and Master Chief interrupts her, basically vows vengeance, like he's going to go and run whoever did this. I'm going to go end them. And basically whose fault it is. So he's trying to go back after the only commanders, because they let Reach fall. And he rightfully so, he blames them for a lot of the deaths. And in the end, he ends up getting a funeral pyre. We're kind of glossing over a lot of stuff because, Quan tried to bury the body herself at first, and then
she was also hallucinating and seeing.
Yeah,
I have a question. Was she seeing the that old white lady that we saw in the beginning?
I
that,
think
which was throwing me off. But
everybody, because at first it seems like there's a group of beings that encircle her, all dressed in red, along with the
mhm,
shaman they found on the other planet in the beginning
yep,
of this season. But then I think when Master Chief and Halsey show up, it's just like the townspeople
mhm,
of that settlement that they find. But they end up giving. I keep trying to capitulate and kind of compromises with Quan. Like, we're not going to bury him in the ground. Let's put him in the sky. I guess
mhm,
the ash and him would go up in the air and not below the ground.
right.
Um, Halsey again plays on the destiny aspect of things. That's her one pull. The shaman gets creepy with Quan.
Shaman's getting creepy.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're trying to protect. Did they ask Quan to protect McKee too? Because it seems like the shaman asked a bunch of stuff and then basically asked Quan to protect the Blessed One as well. And so I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to be that she's hallucinating.
Funny part is I
It
don't remember
claimed to
that.
be
Hmm.
like the planets that she had left behind. It claimed to be part and parcel of her ancestors that she had left behind. So yeah, I don't know if this is just a hallucination she's having the whole time. Um, Kai, I was like at first the end of the other. I was like, is Kai now the new Master Chief? Basically, I didn't know what they were setting up here.
I mean, yeah.
They have her set up as the head of these new Spartan threes, which I'll come back to. Um, Perez is back in the fight.
Yep.
Uh, Orbital breach team is what the Spartan threes are basically, because they're planning to jump out of ships and make breaches on the Covenant corvettes from space, because supposedly they can't target smaller obstacles. They can hit big, but they're
Your
making moves.
reaction makes me feel like you thought that was ridiculous. Did
That
they
was
do that? Did they do that in the games? Did that ever happen?
yes, and I'll make
Oh,
mention
okay.
that too.
Okay.
There's a certain scene. I'm not sure if I can remember. It's the end of Halo 2 where Master Chief actually does this. Basically, a scene straight from the games where he jumps out of space and kind of flies in his Mjolnir armor
Mhm.
around ships and under ships, and this whole little like cutscene slash part of the game.
And you
It's,
said
it's
Halo
really
2?
it's one of the older Halos. It's not the first one, but it's either Halo
Okay.
2 or 3. It's one of them
I think I
that's a
played
scene
2.
straight out. So they kind of ripped that straight from the games.
Okay. That's a
Um,
good thing.
and we learn of this new Spartan program, and they're in some VR training. I guess they're practicing to overtake a Corvette. Um, I'm wondering if Perez knows Kai's history with Master Chief, because it seems like she doesn't really. Chief is the most known of Silver Team, but the way that she's interacting and talking to Kai and asking her questions, and it's kind of funny and ironic that they end up having these talks like right in front of these big advertisement murals of Master Chief, like right in the background, because you'll see her look at Kai and then look directly at the poster behind her of Master Chief with some weird.
Not Chief. You're not Chief. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
I feel like Akerson has become the Austin Powers trope. Remember in Austin Powers when the son comes in and he's like, "Why don't we just kill him right here? We have him. We don't need to do this secret plan and then leave." Like they always escape.
That's
Like just
funny.
kill him.
He's Seth Green's character. That's
I think
funny.
there he's having that conversation with Pawlowski when he's trying to tell her, "No, no, Chief is dead," and she's like,
Mhm.
"Are you sure?" We've had communications and we had video footage of him. There was a description of what they described as the biggest, largest human being they've ever seen leaving Reach with this ship. How do you explain that? And he's like, "Well, it's not him because he didn't finish the
Not
job."
him.
Yeah. Uh, Halsey claims that she can lead them to Kessler. That's part of it. I think she always has the manipulative side to know what things to say to manipulate the people around her to do what she wants, and not to just
Mhm.
kill her. Like,
I really wanted her to die. I really wanted her character gets on my nerves. I just want her to die. I've
yeah.
always.
And all this mystical stuff, I wasn't sure, and still, I'm not really sure how Quan is linked to all this. Um,
Did she have a spiritual coming? I'm coming to Jesus moment. Didn't she have some type of spiritual like trial? She remember in the first season she goes through that like trial when she meets the women in the desert, and then she realized she's part of this long lineage of like fighters.
Yeah,
And
she
I'm
did.
like, so y'all just pulling back. It just seemed like they were pulling back on that thread. They were trying to follow up with that whole like, this is your lineage and where you come from, this spiritual aspect of things. Which
It was, but I feel like that thread was so far back that it's a at this point it's such
Mhm.
a reach. It's like it's weak
I
exactly.
mean, it was a reach. I agree, it was a reach.
Yeah.
Most definitely was one.
We obviously see Akerson trying to turn Kai against Chief when they do find the video evidence of him turning back up on Onyx and them kind of catching him. Uh, and then we have them actually, Kai and Chief get down, but it's a little unfair because number one, Master Chief is hurt. Number two, Kai has her full set of
He
armor
got
and
the suit
starts
on.
mollywopping Chief.
I thought she was gonna cave in his chest with that one kick. I was like, boom. I was like,
Yeah.
hang in there, Chief.
And then Cortana at the last moment saves him, starts opening doors for him and leading the way. And the funny thing I thought about this, at the same time, snitching on McKee, because he's having like two different conversations.
Yeah.
She tricks her into opening a communication so that she can supposedly help her. And she's like, you think I'm going to trust you? And she's like, at this point, can you afford not to? And it's kind of true. And then right then and there, the arbiter stages a coup between them and the priests and off them when they don't go where they're supposed to. They're bucking the system as well. Halo location finally discovered. Spartan 3s are basically dollar store Spartans. They're, they're
Dollar store
not.
Spartans, they just not
Yeah, they're not what the
great
real
value.
Spartan program was meant to be, and they're not obviously not as good of weapons because they're just throwing waves of these things at them. And they're just
They're
getting
pawns, really. They're
seconds.
just pawns.
Like it wasn't even a long fight. It was like you saw the blue blips on the map, and all of a sudden they just got eviscerated like quickly.
Gone.
And she's
Gone.
like, send the next wave. And Nicholson's like, wait a minute, you
Yeah.
can't
She,
do that.
what's her name? Admiral Pagawansky?
It's weird because I know
He's
she's
the real
Indian,
villain.
but she had like some Eastern European or Polish like last name. It's Pawlowski. Is there like referring to her as? So I get confused. I just keep calling her like the previous Oni commander that was in charge before. Um, yeah, Chief and Kai finally confront Akerson on what it is because she finally knows the truth, and they kind of make weird amends. Like he did, I didn't ask for your help, but then they go after. Quan unlocks the map that they've searched because now Quan and Halsey are on a walkabout through this old station that she used to work at, and
she randomly falls into, which I'm still
gets saved too from falling to her death by some
by
force
some
field that like
technology, some random technology that just works.
yeah. Halsey, of course, crosses the damn light bridge when they unlock the artifact into the underground city. Silver team splits. The rule, you never split the team up, but they do. Master Chief is going to go off on his own mission to get aboard the Halo. And Kai feels now a responsibility to these Spartan 3s that she's been training with Corporal Perez. I like the armor that they're giving the Spartan 3s. It's the Mark V EVA helmets, seemingly with the Chimera body armor from Halo.
Okay, so this is all canon. This is okay.
Well, some of it is like a mixture of things. I looked through both my Halo games and I looked through the most recent one, Halo Infinite, and looked at the armor settings to see if I could find a match or a close match to what I'm seeing on the show.
Okay.
We find that Miranda and her mama are arguing over who's the better scientist, and I found a mistake and all this stuff. And she's just like her mama because when it starts going down, she just couldn't resist and grabs.
They were on the same way, but we got to get this random thing.
Yeah, I'm like,
that
come
somebody's
on,
holding. I'm like, I thought it was like my preconceived notion. I was like, oh, they must be grabbing something that they could study that might be like a power source. But I was like, that was goofy watching them try to escape, try to make it across the light bridge in time. I was like, they're gonna make it. The show's this plot armor protecting them.
Then we see the McKee and the Arbiter claim each other, and she goes so far as to get the little like plasma tattoo gun thing
on
and
her chest.
burn herself. with the marking, but then she claims I belong to no one. I'm my loyalty is to the ring, basically. And then we get our moment where Chief is back. He puts on the armor again and comes walking out, and they're thinking he's going to go fight with them. Uh, I was like, episode 8, Janine got that shit. The she lied about not touching the artifact to Miranda, and then she was staying there being all talkative, and you knew something was going to go wrong with her. And she was like, "You need to get out of my face. I need to concentrate right now." And she starts acting weird. Didn't she like stab the crap out of somebody? One of the other.
Yeah. So that was a very strange episode of how they like open it up with this weird kind of lighthearted music.
Yeah.
And we see zombiness happening.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, they're introducing the flood, and
I knew that immediately. I couldn't remember. That was calling the horde in my head. I was like, what was their name? But I was like, oh, they introduced the flood. So,
yeah, they're introducing the flood, which is weird. I'm like, are they? Because I feel like they're teasing us now for another. I don't know how well this show did viewership wise, but this is something that you drop this nugget in the finale of the second season. I'm thinking you're teasing or trying to reel folks in for season 3. And I'm like, I don't know if y'all gonna get that. But
it ain't happening, Chief. It ain't happening.
Yeah. And then we see Kai and the Spartan Threes on their second run because the first wave got decimated, and they're talking over their strategy, and immediately they don't even make it out the Pelican. Like the Pelican gets blown up, and my note says everyone has a plan. I'm thinking about Mike Tyson's famous words, everybody has a plan till you get punched in the mouth. And that's pretty much the best laid plans that you can have out there. Then it's all chaos in a second, and then you have to just buckle down and get through, whatever you have to, because your plans are just going awry immediately. Soren and Quan have to go to rescue Kessler and his wife after they get lost. We kind of skipped that over too. We find out that the UNSC are the ones who took Kessler, and then Soren describes to his wife what happened to him as he was taken as a kid.
He was jumped in.
Basically him, Master Chief, Kai, and Vanek got jumped in, and Riz. We find out he was on the team with Riz, and they got jumped in. And then she's like, "I'm not letting that. What are you talking about?" Because at first,
what are you talking about?
Well, didn't you feel that? Like, he was talking like he was going to let it happen. Like, we can't take this from Kessler. He's got to take this whooping to find out what type of man he's going to be. And Larry's like,
he was also mad calm when we were on the planet. Like, and she kept kind of calling him out on it. Like, why are you so calm? Like, your whole planet didn't just glass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. My man's a Spartan and a pirate.
Yeah. And at that point, and then she thinks basically he's got PTSD and he's been messed up and brainwashed so bad that he's basically wanting to come back to that life. And then at that point, we get that scene after Kai's team gets messed up. Chief can't let it go and let her die after the one ship is unable to offer help to them in the battlefield in space. And so he decides he's gonna. And that's the scene I'm saying that's basically ripped straight from the game, because it is massive.
Oh, when he jumps out the Pelican?
Yeah, he jumps and basically free flies out of the ship to make his way to Corvette where Kai is. Yeah, the flood is here. I think we talked about this our last episode, that it was just a mixed bag. And also, we can go ahead and talk about the end where he makes it to the Halo and ends up. It was like a Rocky movie because he gets whipped up first. Wasn't it though? Didn't he at first get the brakes beat off of him by the Arbiter, only to stand up?
He did, only to come back. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he won the fight. He pulled a Rocky, basically. He gets whooped up and then gets up and whoops up the Arbiter. The Arbiter wants to go out because he's been shamed and basically give me a horrible death.
Yeah, he want a warrior death.
And I was laughing because McKee tried to explain. He was like, "I know what he said." Like he didn't need no translation.
That's Chief.
This is a mixed bag for me. I know there's been a lot of hate on the show. It's not a crap show. The problem, I think, is it's, for the most part, it's not Halo. And there are moments
that are Halo
interspersed, that they give you that are definitely Halo. And I'm not sure whether it's simply a problem of dealing with a property as popular as this, which is also going to have more of a niche crowd. Because I think it's great if you're just a science fiction fan. If you like those things, you like aliens, you like the military and space, the idea of those things put together, but it's set on something that's been well established in the video game world. So people that have played the game for years, that are going to be really familiar with everything, are going to nitpick it to death. So it's almost like a double-edged sword. It's great to have an IP that's well followed, but when you translate it into another medium, there are going to be folks that just pick it apart, and I feel like this is going to be overly picked apart over and over again. What are your thoughts?
So for me as a person who I think I played the first Halo game, Halo 1 and 2. I don't I didn't I'm not I haven't since I haven't played like that was those are the last two games I played. So
Mhm.
I'm not judging it to that much of a degree, but I'm looking at it from like a story perspective, like just how is the story? And for me, I agree with you. There were moments that were like, this is Halo, like this is what we need to see. But then when we phase out of that, it's just a very like just very uninteresting character dynamics, dialogue that doesn't really like hit sometimes. It's not really impactful. And then they want to they want to just throw, like we said, throw everything in the mix instead of like focusing on one thing. So
Yeah.
like for me, I was excited. I was, on that last episode in particular, I was getting excited just because we got to see the flood. Because I like as soon as I saw the zombies, I'm like, oh, these are the zombies from Halo. Because I remember them. I remember that last, I think the last mission where you have to like escape and you're like fighting all of them as you're leaving. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's them. They're back. And I was like, oh, so this is how they're gonna tackle this. And I was like, this is cool, but why are you just shoehorning it into this season finale? Like this doesn't like this is not even it's not good storytelling right now. Like
It's a tease.
yeah, I mean it's but you could have teased it in a way like it like you literally I mean they for all intents and purposes they kind of really tried their best to like they put a lot of attention into it in the whole episode. Like it
Yeah.
was it was a whole other aspect of the episode where I would have been fine if like I don't know if simply it was discovered that it was the flood and leave it at the end, like kind of how you have a post credit scene, like, hey,
Yeah.
the flood's here. And like they had, like, for instance, Halsey getting infected, like they should have just showed that, not showing us the zombies taking over. And then now we're dealing with that plot, we're dealing with that issue. Like it was just too much. So that was annoying me personally. Um, and what else? Fight scene. I mean, fight scene with Master Chief. You said it was like Rocky. It was. I mean, it was a good fight scene.
Yeah. All the
That was
fight
a good
scenes.
fight scene. Him getting on the one Covenant Corvette ship to help Kai was very chief. Him showing up in the smoke
Yeah.
using the what are those plasma blades called? They have a specific
Plasma
name?
swords.
Plasma swords.
Yeah.
Him using that, fighting other Covenant soldiers. It was cool, but I was like, we gotta wrap this up, y'all. I like literally like I'm disappointed because like I said, they're doing too much. I don't want to continue to sit through. We're juggling all these different subplots and not doing it well.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they had the tools to make it good. They just failed to do so. Like you said, they're trying to mix too much
Mhm.
in. I think you should have left Master Chief, and you had enough human foils around him to be the eyes into the world of Halo, and just let him, be what he is in the
Mhm.
games. And you had enough characters around him that could be the emotional balance, or just the sounding board for what questions of people not steeped in the lore would have asked.
Right.
And they did that a little bit with Soren, with Quan,
Mhm.
um, with Corporal Perez, because they're not Master Chief, but they're kind of Master Chief adjacent. Perez
Yeah,
is
they are.
she's a Marine, but she's not a Spartan at the time when they meet, and she's not understanding why he doesn't react the way she reacts when stuff hits the fan, basically.
Right.
Um, Same thing with Soren 66. Like he was actually in the Spartan program, but left the program, so he's experienced life. in a way that Master Chief didn't get a chance to experience, and we get to kind of learn a little bit about that. But if you wanted to put all those kind of storylines in there, we could sprinkle that in. But I think it became where too many times those things became the focal point instead of Master Chief. So that's what I mean by it's kind of Halo adjacent, but it really isn't Halo. It's this works in a lot of other, I think, IP when you want to get down and gritty. I think this was done well when it comes to things to do with like the clone troopers in Star Wars.
Oh,
you know, it's because they are clones, but then we saw that there were individuals.
Yep.
And
Star Wars did that very well, but they had a lot of
different levels, but it was still, we still got their culture, their military bearing, and the way they acted, scene, and the way they spoke about things was very much kind of solidified. And here, this is kind of sorta that way.
It's very great value.
Yeah, so it's just, to me, it's not Halo. It's just kind of almost like a fan fiction of Halo instead of.
Oh dang! Oh wow!
Like I read one or two of the books.
It's a fanfic right here.
And I'm write, not a lot of them, but I read a few of them, and I'm writing my own now. And we're gonna just slap this together, and to make it more humanizing, we're gonna take Chief and the rest of the Spartans out of their armor, so they're not really, the legends that they're supposed to be. You kind of demystify them, and then now we're trying to go on this humanizing journey with the character that has very little lines and Halo 1, 2, 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 4, Halo 5, and now Halo Infinite. You could probably count on your hands and feet how many lines he has throughout all those games.
Wow.
Now we're going to have a man, speaking to everybody, trying to figure stuff out.
Constantly complaining about the
The
military industrial. I said constantly complaining about the military industrial complex. Soldiers just following orders. Like, how many times are we gonna keep saying this, Chief? We get it. We know. We get it. Also, I am gonna. I want to call it that one scene where they went to. Were they in a science lab or Chief? Was it Chief? I think it was Chief and Soren and somebody else. They went to that planet where he gets arrested, basically.
Oh yeah, when they go to Onyx.
Yeah, when they go to Onyx, and I was like, when they had this man, when they had 8 dudes, might have been 8 or 7 dudes trying to restrain him.
That was hilarious.
I was like, that was like one of my favorite parts. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna go well. And I'm still trying to figure out, he did something. So the first guy he damages, it looked like he broke his wrist or his hand in some way when he pulled. I guess he pulled on one of the I call it chains.
Yeah, the little bindings he had.
He pulled it and it did something to dude's hand. I was like, did he like break his wrist? And then he just started smacking everybody up. I laughed when he tried to go and punch the one dude with his right hand, but his hand was caught. His hand was already kind of restrained, so he had to pull him back. Had to pull him closer and go boop. And I was like, let's do more of that.
What is Black Ops from UNSC? Like this.
Black Ops team was getting murked. I was like, y'all are weak.
It was hilarious too. They had the standoff with Black Ops that came, and then he basically spooked them so bad they was like, "Do it yourself." She was like, "Shoot him," and he's like, "Yeah." She wants it to be your bullet, not hers. Look me in the eye, and he's like, "Do it yourself." I was like, "Oh, here we go." Yeah, the fight scenes were good though. When we got the fight scenes and the action, those scenes were all well drawn up, well executed. I like them, even though they did the weird dark screen thing sometimes, where they kind of darken stuff up so you didn't always see exactly what was happening. I don't like when they do that.
I think about that. It's weird. It's funny because they did that 3 times in this show, and it makes you think about the scene from the newest Batman movie where we get Batman fighting in the darkness, but that made sense because he's Batman. But I'm like, y'all, I was like, as much as I like that effect, I was like that kind of cinematic effect. They were leaning into it very hard throughout this particular season.
Yeah, what do you think about Kai's sacrifice?
Oh, I was kind of like, Well, when she first kind of crashes the Corvette into the larger ship, I was like, "Oh, cool." And then when they cut back and her body's still floating in
Floating in
space,
space.
I'm like, she had plot armor now.
Yeah.
What's
I
going
was
on?
kind of, I'm not low key. I was happy for Riz. Riz was like, I'm out. Like I'm just fine. I'm learning what it is now to be a regular
Okay.
human. I done
Yeah.
made some. I guess she had a taste of it on Reach, where she had a couple friends, and
Yeah.
the people in Alaria were kind of open to her, and so she
Mhm.
decided, look, I'm banged up, and she'd already been talking about that with Lewis
Yeah,
before. Like
yeah. She was.
there's more to life than being a Spartan. You can go
Yeah.
just live your life, and she was like what? And now she's kind of going to explore that.
Mhm.
And Chief tried to buck up at her, stand up, and I was like, come on, she's on crutches,
Like,
homie.
leave her
What are
alone.
you
Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Let her go live her life.
like? This ain't Star Wars. Y'all ain't got Bacta tanks. You can't put in a tank for a couple
Can't just
days.
come back like this.
Yeah, and she'll just be magically healed and able to get back in the fight. She's
The
obviously
homie was
not.
wilding. Chief was wilding constantly. Like,
Yeah,
bro, chill. You still drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, we get there's this cosmic force you need to stop, but not everybody can rise to that occasion. Also, you Master Chief, you got plot armor. You'll be
but
good.
he wasn't on a mission for the UNSC at that point. He
Oh
was
yeah,
on
I
his
know. It's
revenge
for the
trip.
sake of yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he was on his revenge plot right there. He wasn't, so he wouldn't, he couldn't claim all the pull he had with Team Silver wasn't what he was going on right then and there, thinking they were above board with everything. He was going against the grain because he felt like, and he rightfully so, that they had gotten a raw deal and were basically left to be killed. After it was super dirty because after taking the armor, knowing that Reach was going to be attacked, and we're going to, ground you here and then leave with civilian. All the high ranking people bounce out with civilians and leave a paltry amount of people to stay behind and fight.
All right, and then that kind of like that's what was kind of like really annoying me is that like clearly we get it like the UNSC is really the true villain in my opinion of the series,
Yeah.
and it's like so Chief, we gonna keep fighting with them? I mean,
Yeah.
Riz made the right decision technically, like morally she made the right decision. Like y'all aren't really fighting for a just cause, and she chose herself, which was valid. But it was like Chief, you gonna keep doing this? When's it gonna stop?
Okay. What did you think about McKee, the blessed one?
Oh, she had a nice. What was that one line she had? Basically, like stating that the Halo is like a beautiful, like this is an important thing that, but also a weapon that either side of them can use against each other. I thought that was very interesting to kind of bring that because, like, yeah,
Well,
both
not
of
only
y'all are just
that, but she was basically screw both sides. She like we can just
yeah,
start over.
really. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah, we can just
hey,
start over because they're always going to fight. So let's just let them fight and destroy each other, and we can just start
and
anew.
let's be together.
I was like,
Clap
wow,
cheeks on Halo.
that's
On
what
Reach
that's
for
what you're
Halo.
going with. Okay,
Yeah, I let her have that. I mean, those people that the folks she was with weren't really claiming her anyway. So what difference?
yeah,
All you got is Chief at this point. Chief and Halo, and that kind of connection. But
and I get all the games mixed up. I remember vaguely the kind of uh the thing that's basically we find out that is interviewing both of them.
oh,
Looks like one of the little things from
what
Destiny.
game was that? Yeah, what game was
That's
that?
one
Because
of the
I remember
architects.
that.
I
I
think,
remember that thing.
yeah. So yeah, basically, they're. It seems like both her and Chief are on trial, and he's like, I don't know if I could trust either of y'all. You know,
And then let's talk about that. What is the point of that? Like this, because when they introduced that, it seems like he's talking to a disembodied voice in his head. Like that was my initial interpretation of it.
yeah,
And then it's kind of not that. I'm like, well, what is the? Because when he goes into that structure, and then we see who he's talking to, I was like,
yeah.
why did y'all do that? Like it was the editing of that was weird. Like to show that at the end and then have that stuff, have the internal monologue earlier in that episode was kind of
Yeah.
like, or. scenes later was kind of just
Yeah, and
like
it kind of blurs the
everything off.
timeline too, because
Yeah,
it
like was that the
is
past or the future? Like I don't know. What are we looking at here? Present? Like, what are we
because
looking
it is obviously after they've made it to the Halo and they're in the structure and both of them, and you don't see McKee talking to it, but you know that it's talked to McKee because it says, "Yeah, you're saying she's dangerous. She's saying the exact same thing about you." So obviously, both of them are getting this interview, and I guess vying for the trust of this supreme alien race with the technology that's beyond anything they could imagine, that created these structures and has the capacity to build, destroy life and completely rebuild it from scratch.
Mhm.
So yeah. So they're teasing a lot here. So obviously the story doesn't end here.
No.
I don't know whether they're going to get another season. That'll depend on how well the viewership did, and if I can go by the opinions I've seen online, majority of people didn't think it was good. Um, and it was kind of middle of the road for me.
Okay.
I
What
mean,
would you rate it? What would you rate it?
out of 10, it's got to be like a 5,
I knew you were gonna
and
say
leans into 4 at times when it gets bad. But
that. It
it's
trickles on down on 4.
yeah, but it had those shiny objects I like. You know, when they try to distract you with them shiny objects, them fight scenes. When it goes first person briefly, and you feel like you're in the helmet again, playing the games, fighting against the Covenant. Those moments were awesome, and even some of them where you're outside of it, when you see Chief basically going head up with the elites outside of his armor, that was an awesome scene.
That was.
Where he was just punching, going back and forth, and I'm thinking, well, if he's tough enough to just go at him like that, then why doesn't that happen kind of more often? Because there were times where you see those scenes and others where you can see he looks outmatched.
Mm.
So I don't know whether some of the elites were punks that he was running into and weren't as good as others.
They really wasn't that strong.
Yeah, like when they're going through like that little marketplace and
Oh yeah, he was.
he's handling them
He
by
was there.
himself.
Most definitely was with no
Yeah,
armor on. I was like,
he was Kevin Hartnett. One pillowcase, one bed by myself. You ready to go night night? He was just whooping them. You know what I mean?
He was. He actually was. I didn't call it. Yes.
And then you get other scenes where he's clearly getting worked.
He's getting worse. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
What would you rate it?
So for me, I feel like a 4 means I couldn't watch it. If I'm being honest with you, like when I was in it, I was like, "Oh man, some of the stuff was great." So I think I'm gonna give it like a. I think I'll give it a 5.5. I'll give it a 5.5,
Yeah.
just because of everything I've expressed. Too many plot lines. A lot of and keep constantly introducing new characters, which I'm still wondering why do you keep doing that? Because we have so many characters in this universe that are normal, and we don't need any other characters to introduce and relate to. Like, why y'all doing this? But yeah, it was doing too much. But the fight scenes got better, and the cinematography on those moments are really nice. Visual effects are always good, but they really need to simplify the story.
Yeah. There are only a few moments where the CGI got out of control where it was like, ugh. It was a weird.
Which ones are you talking about? Which scenes?
Some of the scenes where the jackals come in look kind of
Oh,
weird.
I could see
And
why
every
you.
once in a while, some of the elites didn't look very good
Like
when they
elite.
zoom in up on the faces sometimes. But
Gotcha.
for the most part, it was well done. It
Okay.
just had too many. It was just a Dumb and Dumber experience. Remember in Dumb and Dumber, he was like, sometimes you do something so stupid, and then you do something like this, and completely redeem yourself. Like those brief moments bring me back in after I've been disappointed. Now it's really frustrating.
Mm.
That's kind of what this show was. It was just like it was a roller coaster.
Bad roller coaster.
Yeah, but
Not a good
there
one.
are highlights that are there when you're on the upswing, and then it goes back down, and then it brings you back. It's a weird. It can't just remain constant and give you a steady experience.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping if they do end up getting a season 3, which is what they're teasing, we'll see if that actually happens. I hope they can get it together to make the experience more consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be nice for those. I think that would be nice for those that aren't so disappointed in the show, because there are like I feel like I found out yesterday. My sister was like, "Yeah, one of Mom's friends is watching Halo." And I'm
Really?
like, old lady watching Halo. I'm like, that's kind of different. I'm like, and that person's enjoying the show. So that's
Okay,
like
and
clearly
that's
they're making it clearly for just like everyone outside of the fan base. Clearly,
yeah,
if you get someone random who's not a
yeah.
gamer into Halo, I guess you've done your job. But I don't
And that's
know.
why, and that's strangely where I think this can kind of be a hit when you find a target of people that are just into blanket sci-fi, but not specifically Halo, that could probably find some enjoyment out of it. And that's where some of my opinions in that to that audience will not really matter because they're like, well, I ain't never played the game. I ain't picked up the
I
sticks.
don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. And I read the books. All I see are these space marines and these super soldiers, basically the Spartans,
Mhm.
and these aliens that they're fighting, and this interesting mix of characters to me. I don't know what you're talking about. And there are those out there, and perhaps that's who they're targeting more so than a person that's played the games and knows all the lore.
Right.
And makes sense. I just hope it's enough. And if it is enough, I hope it goads them into improving things.
Yeah, that'll be the hope. I mean, I'm on the same side. Like it just make it better.
Yeah,
Like
it's
raise the
hard,
bar.
I think. More difficult than most people think of.
Hard to what? Wait, hard to
Thing
adapt video
when you're
games?
dealing with a known IP like that.
I
Like
mean, they
it
already
could be a
didn't
blessing
make
and a
it.
curse.
Yes, but we've already had one season. We've kind of like the bar is where it's at. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
set the bar at the first season. If you didn't like the first season, to be honest with you, you probably really not gonna watch the rest of it. So we really have to sit with it like the bar was low or
Yeah.
medium, whatever you want to call it. And so it's now can you improve that bar? Like,
I
because
feel
where
like
you at?
enough
They
of us will
already
be
just
reeled in though.
hmm?
I feel like enough of us, because of what it is, will be reeled in, just like I think it's that way with Star Wars. Like people that hate the prequel and the prequel trilogy and that hate the 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 other trilogy outside of the original trilogy.
Oh, you're
The
talking
two
about
end
what
caps,
is it?
right?
Yes, the bad ones. Well,
The end
the
caps.
prequel was way better than the most recent ones, but those
It's
those
like
yeah.
people don't like it, but at the same time, it's
Mm.
Star Wars. So even if I don't see it when it
Man.
directly first comes out, like eventually you're gonna get that. It's like, let me go ahead and check this out just because. I think, I mean, it's kind of what it was for us with Halo season 2.
Yes,
I didn't watch
that's
it.
exactly what it was. I was
I
like,
didn't watch it as soon as it released,
the
but it
funny
was,
part, I was a little excited. I actually had the momentum. I was like, oh man, I think because I was in South Africa when it dropped, I was like, can't wait
yeah,
to
yeah,
just see where it was going. Just because it was something new to watch,
yeah.
then it just started going downhill for itself. I was reminded of all the things I didn't like about it.
And it's
Just
got
all
that logo
came
in the
back.
back of your mind, that Halo chant. Oh, you get reeled in because
Like, oh, so
it's part
good.
of it's taking advantage of that nostalgia. So you get almost two groups. You get the OG crew that's been on Halo, and like your mom's friend. I think would you say your mom's friend
Mhm.
that never played the games and just thought it might be interesting, and they tuned in. So I think it's got enough to do that. I just don't know whether it will. But
Mm.
if it does, I think it'll get enough viewers again, just because you kind of fall into that trap. You get duped again.
I know we're walking into when to get a season 3. Not gonna be mad if we get it once again. It's like, is this a 5 or a 6, and we get another consistent 6? I was like, guys, we knew it was gonna happen. We knew it was the bar was low, so we showed up anyway.
Yeah.
And we knew we're
They're
not.
gonna
I'm
show
not
up.
gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be mad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we're both in agreement on a 5 out of 10 for the most part for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
season. We'll see if it gets to season 2. We've had 9 viewers today on the live. Appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to listen to us chop it up about these things. Not sure what we're talking about next, but Andrea will probably be back next week. We'll figure out what we're going to talk about. Jordan, thank you once again for taking the time out of your day to chop it up about these things. We might be doing X-Men 97. I don't
I
know.
think we should do X-Men
Okay.
97.
We'll see.
There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk
There's a
about.
lot to talk about. I would like to talk about X-Men
Yeah.
97. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll talk to you guys next week. Like I said, thank you for taking time out of your day. And this has
Of
been
course.
another Askari Cast. Peace.
Peace.